I'm 28, and a few days ago, my entire world flipped upside down. I found out my wife, Megan, also 28, cheated on me with her old boss. He's 35, married, and has kids. We've been together for 5 years, married since our early 20s. High school sweethearts, next-door neighbors growing up. We were each other's first everything. Coming from broken homes, both of us swore we'd build something different, something better. I really believed we had. But now, I can't help but wonder if I've just been blind all this time. I work from home, but Megan recently went back to working on-site. Her job's in a male-dominated field. She's told me more than once that it often feels like a boys' club. The guy she ended up with, her old supervisor, was supposed to be one of the good ones. Someone she said looked out for her. A few weeks back, she got promoted to a supervisory role herself. New position, new responsibilities, including the occasional business trip. Last week, she went on her first one. Wednesday through Friday. Before she left, everything felt normal. We exchanged sweet messages. Encouragement. Support. I was proud of her. Then Monday rolled around. She got home early. Looked overwhelmed, like she hadn't slept. I noticed this red mark on her cheek. Megan's got really fair skin, so she bruises easily. I asked what happened. She just said, "I need a hug." So I held her. And while I was hugging her, she broke down. She admitted to something that shattered everything I thought I knew about my marriage. She'd gotten involved, physically involved, with her old boss during the trip. At first, I couldn't even process it. It felt like something happening to someone else, not me. Like some messed up dream I'd wake up from. I didn't say anything. I couldn't. I just sat there, frozen, while she talked. Cheating, it's not just a sore subject for me. It's trauma. When I was a kid, I caught my dad having an affair. I told my mom. Our family fell apart. My dad still blames me for ruining everything, and we barely speak now. Megan knew all of that. She was there for me back then. We were just teenagers, and she held me through the worst of it. And now she's done the exact same thing to me. Apparently, the guy's wife found out. She confronted both of them at their workplace, in front of customers, in front of employees. Called Megan every name in the book. Slapped her even. Other people had to step in and escort the woman out. After that scene, Megan called her older sister. Her sister tore into her and told her she had to come clean. That's the only reason she told me. She was sobbing, begging me to say something. All I could get out was, "Tell me what happened on the trip." She said the second night, she went out for drinks with the other team leads. Said it was just team bonding. But by the end of the night, it was just her and him. Her old supervisor. She said he started making inappropriate comments, then kissed her. And that things just escalated. I couldn't hear any more. I stood up and told her to stop talking. She reached for my hand, but I pulled away. Told her not to touch me. She collapsed, crying, apologizing, swearing it was a mistake, blaming the alcohol. Told me she loved me, over and over. Said she'd quit her job, give me full access to her phone, start therapy, whatever it took. I couldn't take it. I told her to call her sister and get out. Or else I'd leave. When she saw I was serious, she panicked. Got up, tried to hug me again, begged me not to give up on us. I walked out the door. Didn't pack a thing. Just left. She grabbed my arm one last time, pleaded with me, kept saying, "This can't be the end, not after everything we've been through." And that's the part that kills me the most. Because she's right. We've been through so much together. I've never loved anyone like I love her. But she broke me. She took our life, our future, and threw it away for one night with someone who meant nothing. Now I'm at my mom's place. I somehow kept it together during the drive, but the second I walked in the door, I lost it. I broke down sobbing. I don't think my mom's ever seen me cry like that, not as a teenager, not as an adult. The only person who's ever seen me cry before this was Megan. I told my mom what happened. I couldn't lie to her, not after showing up like that out of nowhere. She was devastated. She loves Megan, always treated her like a second daughter. But she didn't judge her. She just hugged me, told me I could stay as long as I needed, and tried to help me breathe through it. Since I left, Megan's been blowing up my phone. Non-stop texts, missed calls. All of them begging me to come home, to talk, to not give up. But I haven't responded. I can't. I thought I understood heartbreak. I thought I'd felt pain before. But nothing prepared me for this. I always believed cheating was the end, no exceptions. But now, I find myself wondering if maybe, just maybe, there's still something left to salvage. I've been thinking about therapy, about counseling, about giving us another chance. It's hard to shut off the part of me that remembers everything we've been through. I keep thinking about how Megan and I always fit together like we were made for each other. She was there for me during some of the darkest moments of my life, especially when I felt like no one else was. I love her more than I've ever loved anything. But I'm completely lost right now. I don't know what the right move is. This past week has been absolute hell. I feel like a little kid again, helpless, watching my world crumble without the one person who's always been my safe place, my best friend. I couldn't shake the feeling that I didn't have the full picture. So yesterday, I decided to reach out to the one person who had no reason to lie to me, the other betrayed spouse. The affair partner's wife. I found her on Facebook and messaged her. She responded within 10 minutes and immediately suggested a video call. I agreed without hesitation. The moment I saw her face, I could tell she was living in the same nightmare I was. She told me that right after she was escorted out of the office on Monday, she tried to find me. She said one of the last things she told Megan was that she'd find a way to tell me the truth. All I could think about was how Megan had rushed home that same day, how her sister pushed her to confess. It suddenly made sense. She was trying to get ahead of the fallout. I asked the other betrayed spouse if she knew more about what happened during the business trip. Was it just that one night, or had this been going on longer? What she told me confirmed my worst fears. It wasn't a one-night stand. The affair had been happening long before the trip. She shared her screen with me, showing me months of emotional texts between Megan and her husband. Watching those messages appear in real time made it hard to breathe. She said it started back in January. Her husband had grown distant, emotionally checked out. She'd seen him texting Megan, but he always brushed it off as work stuff. The day before the trip, she stopped by his office to drop off something he'd forgotten. She caught them standing way too close, joking, smiling, comfortable. She said the energy between them felt unmistakably flirty. When they noticed her, they stepped apart. Megan looked panicked. She didn't confront them right then. She wanted undeniable proof, something he couldn't weasel out of. After the trip, her husband became even colder, more dismissive. That night, while he slept, she checked his phone. And that's when she found everything. Text after text, some from before the trip, full of romantic tension. Her husband talking about how he couldn't focus when Megan was around. How he needed someone like her. There were even messages where he trashed his own wife, complaining about her, mocking her. It was disgusting. And Megan didn't shut any of it down. Not once. Then there were the messages from Thursday night, the night they were supposed to be bonding as a team. He invited Megan out for drinks with the group. And the next morning? He sent her a message implying that they'd slept together. After that message, there were no more replies from Megan. I didn't think it was possible to hurt more than I already did. But I was wrong. The other betrayed spouse told me she had to fight to keep her composure that night. Her twins were asleep in the next room. She didn't confront her husband right away. She was already done with him in her heart. She said he'd crossed a line he could never come back from. She decided then and there she would humiliate him the way he humiliated her. So she faked it, acted like everything was fine until Monday morning. Then she made her move, exposing him at work in front of everyone, coworkers, subordinates, even customers. The confrontation had been brewing for weeks. It just happened that Megan was there too. When she saw Megan and her husband together that morning, standing casually with another coworker, she lost it. Targeted Megan, screamed at her. Megan tried to calm her down, but it didn't work. According to her, the guy, the affair partner, didn't show an ounce of remorse. Just got angry at his wife for making a scene. She told me he was fired the next day. She also kicked him out of the house. But the worst part, she said, was having to explain everything to her kids. Trying to tell your children why daddy's not coming home, without destroying their world, that's a pain I can only begin to imagine. But I think I'm starting to understand. When I was a kid, I saw my mom go through something eerily similar, having to explain to me why my dad wasn't coming home. That memory came flooding back as the other betrayed spouse talked about her kids. It crushed me. She said this whole thing revealed who her husband really was. And even though he was the one who pursued Megan, she still held my wife responsible. As a woman, she said she had zero sympathy or respect for Megan. I told her she had every right to feel that way. I wasn't going to defend what Megan had done. Then, surprisingly, she apologized to me. Apologized for her husband's part in it all. I didn't even know what to say at first. But I ended up apologizing for Megan too. She said something I won't forget, that we're both in a club neither of us ever wanted to join. A club we were dragged into by people we trusted the most. She asked what was happening with Megan and me. I told her the truth, I didn't know. Just that I wasn't living with her right now. Before we ended the call, we exchanged numbers. Just in case we ever needed someone who truly understood. That conversation ripped me open. Every raw emotion I'd been trying to push down came flooding out. I told my mom everything. She didn't say much, no judgment, but I could tell. She was disappointed. And she was heartbroken too. She always thought of Megan as a daughter. There's this part of me, I hate to admit it, but it feels good knowing that guy lost everything. His job. His family. Maybe now he's suffering too. But I'm not proud of that feeling. Because at the end of the day, a family's still been destroyed. A wife is losing her husband. Kids are in pain. And then there's my own anger. Anger toward Megan. Not just for breaking our vows, but for putting my health at risk. After she got back from that trip, we were still intimate. And based on those post-trip texts, they didn't use protection. That thought alone made me feel physically sick. I knew I had to talk to Megan. I needed a full, honest timeline of events. No more lies. No more half-truths. But I also felt even more lost than when I first found out. It felt like I was drowning. I suspected that when she confessed to me, she'd still been holding things back, trying to minimize it. And I was right. Update. I finally broke no contact. It's been a week since everything came crashing down, and I haven't been able to sleep. After talking with the other betrayed spouse, I needed clarity more than ever. Megan and I have known each other since we were kids. She's been my best friend for most of my life. And now she's the person who hurt me more than anyone ever has. Every time I step outside, I feel like a ghost. Like people can see right through me. I catch myself wondering if neighbors or coworkers know. If they're whispering. Laughing. Has anyone else ever felt like that? Like the whole world knows you've been played? I decided I needed answers. So I went back to our house. No warning. I wanted to give her one last chance to be honest. Some people online warned me, said the affair partner might be there. That Megan could be continuing it right under my nose. It hurt to even imagine. The idea that she could be with him in the home we built together made me sick. But after everything, it didn't seem that far-fetched. I texted the other betrayed spouse and asked what the guy's car looked like. Told her why I needed to know. She gave me the details, and I drove over. No sign of his car. I walked in, and there she was. Megan. Alone on the couch. Eyes red and swollen, like she'd been crying for days. The moment she saw me, she looked stunned, relieved. She stood up and called my name. I told her to stop. She froze, then quietly thanked me for coming home. Said she'd been worried. I asked her straight up, had the affair partner ever been in our house? She said no. I didn't take her word for it. I checked every room. She followed me around, swearing over and over that he'd never stepped foot inside. I didn't find anything to prove otherwise. I asked if she'd been in contact with him since. She said he left a voicemail, but she didn't respond. She blocked him. Even showed me the call log as proof. Eventually, we sat down at the dining room table. I kept my emotions in check as best I could. I told her I wanted answers. All of them. No more half-truths. No more watered-down stories. She said she was glad I came. That she wanted to talk. I asked if she'd quit her job yet, something she had said she would do. She hadn't. But the day the affair partner was fired, she was also suspended for a week while HR conducted an investigation. She said the only reason she hadn't quit yet was because she was waiting to hear what the company would decide. She finds out tomorrow. Then I asked her again, tell me everything. The whole story. Start to finish. She hesitated. Said she'd already told me? But I looked her in the eyes and said, you and I both know there's more. This is your last chance to be honest. If I catch even one more lie, we're done for good. She went quiet for a while, then nodded. Finally, she told me the truth. What she shared lined up with what the other betrayed spouse had already shown me. She admitted the affair started as emotional, flirty texts at first. But it escalated. She claimed they only slept together once. She didn't go into every detail, but she confirmed most of what I already knew. Except this time, I could tell, she was telling the truth. And it just broke me all over again. Even though I already knew the truth, hearing Megan confirm it felt like reopening a wound that hadn't even started healing. I sat there in silence, just like I had the day everything came crashing down. She looked at me and quietly asked what I was thinking. So I asked her the question that had been clawing at my insides since the moment this all started. Why? Why would she do this, knowing everything about my past? Knowing what my dad did to my mom, how it wrecked our family and scarred me for life. She broke down. Said she was never unhappy with me. Never once thought our marriage was lacking. That she loved me. That our relationship meant everything to her. But her actions, I told her, screamed something completely different. She said she didn't know why she let it happen. That she never wanted to hurt me. But once she realized what was happening, she was already in too deep. By the time it became physical, she had made so many mistakes that she didn't know how to back out. She admitted the guy had helped her at work, that he was well liked, and that she felt stuck. She insisted the affair had nothing to do with me, that I hadn't failed her in any way. This was all her. I asked if he forced her into anything. She shook her head and said no, just that he was surrounded by a boys' club culture at work, and when it happened, she froze. She couldn't process what was going on. She kept apologizing, over and over, saying she wished she could turn back time. My emotions were slipping fast, so I tried to speed things along. I asked why, after everything, she'd come home and still be intimate with me. Why she initiated it. Her answer felt like a punch to the gut. She said she felt disgusted with herself, and thought that being with me would somehow cleanse her guilt. I told her all she did was put me at risk, so she could sleep better at night. She had no response. Just more tears. Then I asked what might be the worst question of all. Would she have ever told me if she hadn't been caught? She admitted she had planned to end it. Said she'd stop texting him after the night they were together. Her plan was to cut him off outside of work and fix everything before I ever found out. But confess? No. She was terrified. She knew cheating was my one deal breaker. I asked if protection had been used. She went quiet, then said no, it wasn't planned. She didn't say anything in the moment because she froze. She looked broken. Said she'll never forgive herself. That she knows I might hate her forever, and she wouldn't blame me. The silence from me this past week, the not knowing where I was, it had scared her more than anything. Then she begged me. Begged me to consider saving our marriage. Said we could still come back from this. I couldn't help it. I brought up my dad. I told her she reminded me of him. That stung. She flinched like I'd hit her. Swore she wasn't like him. Begged me not to make that comparison. Said our situation was different, that we weren't doomed. Not yet. I didn't say anything. She reached for my hand. I pulled away. I asked for a timeline, every single detail. She looked terrified, but I said I needed it if there was even a chance I'd consider staying. She agreed. I told her we both needed to get tested. She didn't hesitate. With my emotions barely held together, I started packing a bag, just essentials. She cried and pleaded with me to stay. Said I could take the bed and she'd sleep on the couch, anything to keep me in the house. I couldn't. I told her I was going back to my mom's. She asked if I'd tell my mom anything from her. I said no. I wouldn't be her messenger. I could see it on her face. She was scared of losing that bond, too. My mom has always treated her like a daughter. When she asked for a hug, I said no. I walked out. And now I'm here, weighing my options. She's been more honest, but it doesn't change what she did. I don't know what to believe about her. Freezing up. It doesn't sit right with me. She still let it happen. And the fact that it happened without protection? It feels like it was more than just a mistake. It feels personal. Intimate. Intentional. Maybe I'm wrong. But I can't shake that feeling. I got the timeline. She finished it and sent a message saying she was ready to talk. We've kept contact minimal, but civil. She texted to say she had her post-suspension meeting. An hour later, she told me she was officially terminated. We're both scheduled for STD testing on Thursday. Last night, she FaceTimed me. I didn't want to pick up, but I did. She looked exactly like she did on Sunday, tired, fragile. She said writing out the timeline was one of the hardest things she's ever done. Second only to us being apart. She was fighting tears. Normally I would have reached for her, tried to comfort her, but I didn't. My mom offered to come with me when I pick up the timeline. She won't come in, just wait in the car. I think she's just worried about how I'll be afterward. Honestly? So am I. I accepted my mom's offer to ride with me. When we arrived, Megan was already waiting inside, clutching a 2-page document, looking visibly anxious. As I sat beside her on the couch, the air felt heavy, like it was D-Day all over again. My chest was tight. I asked her to read the timeline out loud. She looked taken aback. Fear crossed her face, and for a second, I almost faltered. We'd always been so in tune with each other, and now, her fear just made my dread worse. But I told her, this was something I needed. And after a long pause, she nodded and began. It was brutal. Even though I knew most of it from what the other betrayed spouse had shared, hearing it from Megan's lips shattered me all over again. Every word made it more real. She'd structured it from the day she was hired right up to D-Day. She described how their friendship began. How her affair partner came across differently than the other guys. He'd joke around, sure, but he didn't play into the usual workplace garbage. People respected him. His department stayed tight. And slowly, he started opening up to her about his life at home. Then, he turned it around and started asking about hers. She said she told him about her mom's relapse. Vulnerable stuff. And she admitted she should have shut it down. But back then, she still saw him as one of the good guys. Coworkers started teasing her, calling her his favorite. She never told me any of this, said she didn't want to burden me while I was dealing with my dad. Said her problems felt small in comparison. So instead of leaning on me, her husband, she leaned on him. That's when the emotional affair really began. And suddenly, he knew more about what was going on with my wife than I did. That cut deep. We've always talked about everything. That was our thing. Nothing off limits. No secrets. And now, here she was, admitting she had kept this entire emotional world from me. Their texts turned flirty. He started complimenting her. Hinted at a promotion. After she got it, he hugged her. First time they touched like that. Joked that she owed him one. Then came the team outing. They slipped away from the group. He vented about his wife, his kids, the usual cheating spouse playbook. Said they should celebrate her promotion. Led her to his room, turned on music, commented on the view. Then pulled her close. They danced. He kept calling her beautiful. Then he kissed her. She said she froze. He groped her. And it escalated to full-on physical intimacy. She said she didn't feel anything emotionally. Said it was quick, mechanical. He finished and said something disgusting, called it one hell of a celebration. Afterward, she didn't say a word. Just left. Went back to her room, got in the shower, and scrubbed herself raw. Said she cried all night. Couldn't sleep. Just kept thinking of me. The next morning, she skipped the only meeting scheduled. Claimed she was hungover. Her affair partner texted, saying he was disappointed. Suggested they stay another day. Said he'd cover for her at the meeting. She started crafting her exit strategy. Told herself she'd shut it all down, go back to keeping things strictly professional. Said she knew by then it was over, and she wanted out. But when she came home, she didn't tell me any of this. She acted like everything was fine. And Saturday morning? She initiated intimacy. Told me later it was her attempt to erase what she'd done. But all it did was make her regret hit harder. Especially because she knew they hadn't used protection. Monday, he pulled her aside at work. She tried to tell him it was a mistake. He resisted, kept trying to hold on to her, until another coworker intervened. That confrontation was the final trigger. She panicked, called her sister, and her sister convinced her to tell me. As she read all this, Megan broke down more than once. Took long pauses, tried to breathe through it. I sat in silence, barely holding myself together. When she reached for my hand, I pulled away again. Eventually, I asked for the timeline and told her I had to go. Once I got to the car, I completely lost it. My mom, who had waited outside, didn't say a word, just wrapped me in a hug. I broke down in her arms like a little boy. I couldn't drive, so she took the wheel and got us home. Megan kept calling, texting. Even reached out to my mom. But I told my mom I'd handle it. When I finally called her back, she asked if I was okay. I couldn't believe she asked that. No, I said. Why would I be okay? She admitted I was right. Said she was no better than my dad. That reading the timeline felt like staring straight into the ugliest version of herself. Said it gave her clarity. Made her realize just how much damage she'd caused. She told me she still loved me. That she cherished every part of our story, from neighbors to friends to spouses. That what we had mattered more to her than anything. But she also admitted her choices had destroyed all of that. Even if they seemed like small steps at the time, they added up to something that can't be undone. And right now, I don't know if I'll ever be able to forgive her for it. Like me and the other betrayed spouses, Megan said she hated herself for what she'd done, for risking everything we had and potentially losing me. She asked if I could ever find it in my heart to reconcile. Said she'd spend the rest of her life proving what our marriage meant to her, swore she'd do the work to make it right. I couldn't say anything. My right hand was shaking. All I could get out was that I needed space. Do I regret asking her to write the timeline? Not really. I needed the truth, even if it hurt like hell. Decision-making's always been tough for me, especially when emotions are high, but once I commit to something, I do my best to stick with it. That's just who I am. I've always loved Megan. Even now, even after all this. We've been through so much together. I don't want to lose what we built. But I still feel shattered when I think about what she did. Right now, I'm leaning toward individual counseling. It helped me before, back when my dad's affair tore our family apart. I think it'll help me now, too. I'm also planning to ask Megan for a polygraph. And I'll be requesting a pregnancy test, just to be sure. I don't think she'd lie to me again after everything, but I need peace of mind. Any thoughts or advice on that would honestly help right now. I've learned even more since Megan read that timeline to me. There hasn't been a single quiet moment in my head since. The weight of everything, her betrayal, the intimacy with someone else, the deception, it's still crushing me. I haven't slept right in days. I keep rereading the timeline. Over and over. Sometimes it brings back sadness. Other times it's rage. And sometimes I just feel completely numb. I don't think she lied in the timeline. Everything in it matches what the other betrayed spouse shared with me. I think it broke something in her to face it all at once, to lay it all out in black and white. As for me, the more I sit with it, the more I realize the affair partner targeted her. And that haunts me. Because when she was 17, after her mom had a serious breakdown, she came to my house for comfort. That night, I promised I'd always protect her. I feel like I failed her. Failed myself. I didn't see the danger. I trusted too blindly. I believed her when she said everything at work was fine. On Friday night, I texted the other betrayed spouse again, just to check in. To ask if we could talk. She called after putting her twins to bed. She told me she's focusing on the kids and trying to stay strong. Said the divorce process has been brutal. Apparently, the affair partner's been acting like he's the one who's been wronged. No apology. No shame. Just arrogance. He's living in an extended stay now. She changed the locks to keep him out. I asked her if this guy had a history. Any past behavior that hinted at this. She paused, then told me there was an incident about 5 years ago. An allegation at his last job. A woman reported him for retaliation. Something happened after she turned down his advances. HR didn't act on it. And the woman ended up leaving, with her reputation dragged through the mud. She said she ignored the red flags back then. She was pregnant at the time and desperate for things to stay stable. There weren't any other accusations afterward, and his reputation stayed intact. It took me a minute to process all that. I asked if she ever requested a timeline from him. She said no. She didn't care. She wanted a clean break. Just a divorce and to be done with him forever. Before we hung up, she gave me her attorney's contact in case I ever decide to go that route. Told me to reach out when I'm ready. We talked a bit longer, about life after D-Day. About how the world doesn't feel real anymore. Then we said goodnight. And now I'm sitting here again, wondering if I'll ever feel normal. Or if this broken version of me is all that's left. The more I thought about it, the more my anger turned toward the affair partner. I'm convinced he targeted Megan. But that doesn't erase the fact that she still allowed an emotional connection to grow. She let it evolve into something more, and that betrayal runs deep. I feel shattered, confused, and so incredibly hurt. Yesterday, I couldn't stop thinking about something the other betrayed spouse had said. It kept looping in my head, stirring up more questions, more pain. Then, out of the blue, my sister-in-law called. I could tell right away something was wrong. Her voice sounded off. She was worried about Megan. Said she hadn't been eating, hadn't been sleeping. She asked if I'd spoken to her. I hadn't. Not since Thursday. To her credit, Megan had been respecting my request for space. But hearing that she wasn't doing well, it didn't sit right with me. As angry and hurt as I still am, the thought of her suffering alone broke something in me. I hated all of it. My sister-in-law asked if I could maybe talk to her. Truth was, I'd already decided to drop by. On the way over, I stopped at this little restaurant Megan loves. I picked up her usual order, something comforting. Something familiar. As I drove up to the house, I had a passing thought, what if the affair partner was there? But his car wasn't anywhere nearby. I walked in and found Megan curled up on the couch. She looked awful, like she'd been through hell. My emotions twisted in every direction. She was the one who caused this, no doubt. But still, seeing her like that made my chest ache. She sat up quickly when she saw me. Started to get up like she wanted to hug me, but then stopped herself. I held up the food and told her I needed her to eat. She looked stunned. Said I didn't have to do that. But I insisted. I helped her settle at the dining table, got her a drink, and waited as she started eating. While she was eating, I asked if the affair partner had been to the house. She shook her head. No. Then I asked to see her phone. Without hesitation, she handed it over. I went through her messages. Nothing new with him. His number was still blocked. After she finished eating, I brought up the call from her sister. Megan seemed surprised, said she hadn't asked her to reach out and that she'd been honoring my request for space. I told her it was okay. I wasn't mad about the call. She looked at me and said, "You shouldn't have to come home like this." But I told her our vows mattered. That's when she started crying. She said she'd ruined everything. That she'd betrayed me and hated herself for it. Said she was angry with herself, disgusted. Her words hit harder than I expected, and I cracked. I broke down right there. She kept saying she didn't deserve me. That I must regret everything, regret ever being with her. And I cut in. My whole life is wrecked, Megan. But I don't regret you. I reminded her of everything we've been through. The history. The nights we stayed up talking. The times she pulled me through dark places. I told her I never imagined life without her, not before D-Day. We didn't say much after that. We just cried. Together. Sitting in the weight of what we'd become. Eventually, I told her I had to go. She thanked me for coming. Said she understood I still needed space. Promised she wasn't giving up. Told me she planned to start individual counseling. I nodded. My first counseling session is set for Monday. I'm hoping it'll help. But right now, I still feel completely lost. Like I'm stuck in a maze with no exit in sight. Every emotion imaginable is hitting me at once, and I don't know which way is forward.